Hello everyone, my name is Anthony Necochea, and today I will be discussing the commercialism in sports regarding how it affects the sports world today professionally, and later diving into the problems of commercialism in collegiate athletics. In the beginning, sports weren't commercialized, and the ideals of amateurism was the main consensus in the sports world. You see, athletes back in the day solely competed for the thrill of the sport and basically just seeing who was the best in their event. So what took us from this format into the monetized empire we see today? Well, that can be answered by discussing ideas such as teams wanting to find more profitable areas due to higher populations, the introduction of sponsors, and finally the mistreatment of collegiate athletes who still hold true to the amateur format of business. We will begin with this first clip, which displays teams moving from different cities taken from the movie Basketball.
Soon it was commonplace for entire teams to change cities in search of greater profits. The Minneapolis Lakers moved to Los Angeles, where there are no lakes. The Oilers moved to Tennessee, where there is no oil. The Jazz moved to Salt Lake City, where they don't allow music. The Oakland Raiders moved to LA and then back to Oakland. No one in Los Angeles seemed to notice. The search for greener pastures went on unabated.
As you can see, some of these moves just didn't seem to make sense due to the teams keeping their names from the former cities that they used to be in. I mean, think about it. There really isn't any lakes in Los Angeles, so what makes a team decide to up and leave their cities and seek out new areas to host their teams? Well, that answer can be found in population size and most importantly, revenue. Using the Lakers as an example, when they decided to move in 1960, the population of Minneapolis was 482,872 people, while Los Angeles at the time had a population of 2,479,015 people. The idea was simple: higher population equals more fans buying tickets, more fans are going to buy your merchandise, and more fans are going to come and watch your team play. The owners of the team don't take fan appreciation into consideration when it involves the moving teams. They just want to be placed in a market where they feel the positives outweigh the negatives. According to Forbes' list of the world's most valuable sports teams, the Los Angeles Lakers are worth $3 billion and are ranked ninth on the list. Minnesota Timberwolves didn't even make the list. Now that we've discussed how moving to different cities is one way commercialism affects the sports world, let's take a look at this next clip and discuss how sponsorships became household names in the sports world.
That my play would have dictated, everything off the court. I don't think the shoes would have changed my whole outlook in terms of how I played the game. But I think I could enhance the shoe as in terms of how it would have been marketed. So
The marketing these brands use to get their products in every household in America is truly ingenious.
This topic pretty much speaks for itself. Clothing brands are a huge industry when it comes to sports, and some companies even have the rights stating that their product and their product alone can be the sole distributor of certain items. In baseball, Majestic is the only brand allowed to make professional jerseys. Going back to the clip, as you can see, some companies use sports icons to help get their brand name out into the world. For example, if a consumer sees that LeBron James is coming out with a new shoe, people are going to flock to stores and pay hundreds of dollars just for a pair of shoes. This is how sponsorships lure people into purchasing their products. For football, beer is a big sponsor that is largely commercialized. I can't tell you how many beer commercials I've seen throughout the years for Budweiser featuring their classic Clydesdales and comedic skits to promote their product. But we play into it. We see the commercials during these live sports spectacles and we get to thinking, hey, maybe I should try that new energy drink. Or, you know, I really need a new pair of shoes. Teams who are sponsored by these companies get a small profit if they sell that company's product in their stadiums. So the next time you buy a brand named hot dog or beer at a sporting event, just know it's all a part of the commercialization in sports. And now, for the finale, I will discuss the commercialization in college sports and the unfair ideology of amateurism. College athletes don't get paid like their professional counterparts, yet they are pawns used to help the NCAA make huge returns in terms of revenue. In the documentary Schooled: The Price of College Sports, it discusses how college athletes are used by the system to create money for the NCAA. For example, when EA Sports began releasing video games such as NCAA football and basketball, athletes began to realize, hey, that guy that I'm playing as kinda looks like me. Did they ask for my permission to do this? No. Well, maybe I should be getting paid because I know that guy taking the handoff from the quarterback is me. You see, the video game characters would have the same facial features as their real counterparts, along with their size, weight, and even their hometowns. This, however, it only makes up a small portion of where the NCAA gets their money from. The latest released numbers for how much the NCAA makes off of their deals with television companies, merchandise, and other miscellaneous items such as championships such as the Tostitos Fiesta Bowl and Chick-fil-A Bowl back in the 2011-2012 year was $871.6 million. Yet they still state that the money that the athletes receive is given in the form of scholarships. Ah, yes, the treasured scholarship. The one thing college athletes strive to achieve to help them pay for college. But even receiving a scholarship just isn't enough for these athletes. In the 2010-2011 year, a study stated that for each full scholarship athlete was approximately $3,222 per player for the school year. This report also found that the room and board provisions in a full scholarship leave 85% of players living on campus and 86% of players living off campus to be living below the poverty line. The study estimates the fair market value of the average FBS football and basketball player to be $120,048 and $265,027. But those numbers would only be that high if these players were rightfully compensated. Maybe there'll be one time when college athletes will get their paycheck, but for now, the NCAA is keeping to itself, and collegiate athletes everywhere can be heard screaming. Show me the money! In closing, commercialism in sports is in our society to make money off of our professional athletes and collegiate athletes. Is it right? In some aspects, I can see where it can be good, but there are areas where I can see that we are being manipulated by the system. Commercialism in sports, however, it's here to stay. And those Super Bowl commercials aren't going anywhere.